Jayam Raja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Privrajkacharya Shtatarashata Shishima Tabaya Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai Shishir Govinda Ki Jai Gaur Nitai Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the same devotees. All glories to Shishi Guru Govinda. All glories to Shila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Naranam Namaskritya Naram Chiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Reading from Śrimad Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 22, The Marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti, Text 15. Okay. Rishi Ruvacha Bhadam Udvodukhamoham Aprata Chatatvatmaja Avayor Anuruposaf Adyo Vaivahiko Vidhi Rishiruvacha Bhaddam Udvodukhamoham Aprata Chatatvatmaja Avayor Anuruposaf Adyo Vaivahiko Vidhi. Badam Udvodukhamoham Aprata Chatatvatmaja Rishiruvacha Udvodukhamoham Vahiko Vidhi. Rishiruvacha Badham Udvodukhamoham Chatatvatmaja Avayorana Ruposa Rishiruvacha Badam Udvodukhamoham Apratachatvatmaja Vahiho Vidhi. Mataji. Shirvacha Bhadam Udvodukhamoham Apratachatvatmaja Avayoranuruposa Adyavi Rishiruvacha Badam Udvodukhamoham Apratachatvatmaja Avayoranuruposa adyo vaivahiko vidhi. Rishi, the great sage Kardama, Uvacha said, Bhadham, very well, Udvodukhamam, desirous to marry, Aham, I, Aprata, not promised to anyone else, Cha, and Tava, your, Atmaja, daughter, Abhayaho, of us too, Anurupa, proper, Asau, this, Adya, first, Vaivahika, of marriage, Vidhi, ritualistic ceremony. Translation and purport by Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. The great sage replied, certainly I have desire to marry, and your daughter has not yet married or given her word to anyone. Therefore, our marriage, according to the Vedic system, can take place. Purport. There were many considerations by Kardama Muni before accepting the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. Most important is that Devahuti had first of all fixed her mind on marrying him. She did not choose to have any other man as her husband. That is a great consideration because female psychology dictates that when a woman offers her heart to a man for the first time, it is very difficult for her to take it back. Also, she had not married before, she was a virgin girl. All these considerations convinced Kardama Muni to accept her. Therefore, he said, yes, I shall accept your daughter under religious regulations of marriage. There are different kinds of marriages, of which the first-class marriage is held by inviting a suitable bridegroom for the daughter and giving her in charity, well-dressed and well-decorated with ornaments, along with a dowry according to the means of the father. There are other kinds of marriage, such as Gandharva marriage and marriage by love, which are also accepted as marriage. Even if one is forcibly kidnapped and later on accepted as a wife, that is also accepted. But Kardama Muni accepted the first-class way of marriage because the father was willing and the daughter was qualified. She had never offered her heart to anyone else. All these considerations made Kardama Muni agree to accept the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. Rishiruvacha bhaddam udvodukamoham apratacha tavatmaja avayor anurupo sav adyo vaivahiko vidhi. The great sage replied, certainly I have a desire to marry, and your daughter has not yet married to or given her word to anyone. Therefore, our marriage, according to the Vedic system, can take place. Mukam karoti vachalam, pangum langayati grim, yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. So, Hare Krishna. So this is the crucial importance of family planning, right? We hear previously, in previous verses, previous chapters, that Kardama Muni was ordered by Lord Brahma to procreate, to have children, has children. And what happened? What was his course of action? Kardama Muni performed tapasya for 10,000 years. And this tapasya was actually not just superficial tapasya, not connected to Krishna, but it was actually devotional service. So he was given service to perform by the authorities, and the service happened to be to marry and to have children. And in order to qualify for this service, he had to perform devotional service. So that's what we do, right? We perform service so that we are qualified for more service. We chant Hare Krishna because we want to chant Hare Krishna in ecstasy, in pure love. We worship the deities because we want to worship them in a higher consciousness, etc. So then, Kardama Muni performed devotional service, obviously in a proper mood, because what happened then? Krishna appeared. And it's interesting that when, for example, Dhruva Maharaj also worshipped the Lord and Krishna appeared, then what happened then? Dhruva Maharaj said, I don't want this kingdom. I don't want anything material. But then when the Lord appeared in front of Kardama Muni, we don't hear this. He still wanted to marry and to go through the whole experience. And still, we are reading about Kardama Muni and his family life on the pages of Bhāgavatam. Why? He had obviously some material desire. Why do we have to hear about this brahmachari who decided to get married? Because his son is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Well, yes, his family life was very Krishna conscious. His children were very Krishna conscious. In fact, one of the children was the Supreme Lord. It was Krishna himself. Okay, but why then? Why Krishna appeared as his son? Why? Well, yes, Krishna was pleased that although Kardama Muni wanted this marriage, he connected everything, all his desires to Krishna. And Krishna was very happy because this is the way to purify ourselves when we are connecting everything to Krishna. And this is so important. Having pure consciousness and conceiving good children, because this is the way how human society can be prosperous. Srila Prabhupada explains this already in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He explains that, well, this is because Arjuna gives his reasons why he shouldn't fight the war. And Arjuna says that when the women are not protected, then they associate with low-class men. And then, as a result of their association, there is Varna Shankara. Shankara Narakaeva Kulagnanam Kulasya Patanti Pitarohisham Lupta Pindotaka Kriya. As a result of this, Shankara Strishu Dushtashu Varshnaya Jate Varna Shankara. When the women are polluted, then they give birth to Varna Shankara, unwanted progeny, and then this Varna Shankara, Shankara Narakaeva, this Varna Shankara, when it floods the world, it creates Naraka, hellish life for everybody. So recently we went through this COVID experience, right? 3 years, and you could see everywhere in the New York subway also. You could see this. I would call this advertisement. Actually, there were attempts to control the consciousness of the people. So they were implying that you have to wear mask, right? And you have to social distancing, etc. All these things. Why? Because in this way you're responsible. You're responsible because you don't spread the disease. So in the same way, human beings are supposed to be responsible when they conceive children. Otherwise, they will spread the disease of materialism. When Srila Prabhupada was saying that when the children are conceived just like cats and dogs, then Varnashankara comes in our world. It's not ours, it's Krishna's world. But here on this planet, we invite low-class persons with, of course, the soul is always spiritual, but the consciousness of the soul can be higher or lower. So then irresponsible human beings, they invite these low-class consciousness persons, and then everything becomes hellish. And now, if we say this, we are saying this, of course. When we say this, well, even if you wear mask or follow social distancing, etc., all these things, this will not solve the problem because our planet is infested with sinful people because of irresponsible conceiving. Then people will be shocked. Why? Krishna explains in Gita, Yesham dvanta papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridavrta. Only those who are done with impious activities, sinful activities, and are engaged only in pious activities, only they can have the determination to follow Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, they lack intelligence. Krishna says, Naham sarvasya prakasha yoga maya samavritaha mudumam nabhijananti. For these people who are impious, Krishna doesn't reveal himself. And yesterday, we saw at the Washington Square Park, we saw these musicians, by chance the devotees have taken their spot, so they became so angry. I could not tolerate just for 1 or 2 hours just their plans to be thwarted. It's not possible. They're very intolerable. So they were shouting and jumping up and down, yelling at the devotees, go away! So in this way they commit offenses against the devotees, and then in future they won't be inclined to accept devotional service because Krishna doesn't like when the devotees are harassed in this way. So crucial importance, very important. We should have to be responsible, and we have to conceive children in good consciousness, in Krishna consciousness. If you read the beginning of Krishna book, then you will see of this universal plot. The demons, they wanted to take over our planet. Again, it's not ours, it's Krishna's planet, but planet Earth. This is not their place, but they wanted to take over. So how did they try to do it? You remember? It's the first sentence of Krishna book, the very beginning. What did they do? They were taking birth in royal families. So the kings at one point, the rulers of the planet, they looked like kings, but they were actually demons. So that's how they did it. So that's what's happening right now also. And it's happening because of irresponsible human beings who don't protect women. Women become corrupted by low-class men, and then they give birth to Varnashankara. And Varnashankara, why it is so dangerous? One of the reasons is because it lacks identity. First of all, they don't know who they are spiritually. They have no idea who they are materially as well. They don't know which Varna they belong to, and they don't follow any particular set of duties, and this makes their behavior unpredictable. And when people don't know what to expect, they don't know how the rest of society will behave, then the situation is hellish. usually in civilized human society, everyone has established set of duties, and everybody knows how everybody else will behave. So it's very predictable. Not boring in a sense, but predictable. You know, this is a Brahmana, he will behave in this way. And this is a Kshatriya, he has such and such nature. And this is a Vaishya, this is a Shudra, this is a man or a woman, this is a guru, this is a disciple. So all these positions are scientifically described in the Dharma Shastras, and everybody is acquainted with their duties, and they follow their duty, and then the society runs very smoothly. Varna Shankara means I follow whatever I like to follow right now, according to the whims of my mind. And then I like to pick and choose. I like to have the prestige of the Brahmanas. I like to have the, what about the Kshatriyas? The influence of the Kshatriyas, and then the money of the Vaishyas, and the freedom of expression of the Shudras. Everything in one package. And I pick and choose, cherry picking. Okay, so then Kardama Muni performed tapasya. He was serving the Lord. And then this is called brahmachari training. So brahmachari training is why it's so important. Prabhupada established, sometimes we forget that Srila Prabhupada established 5 out of 8 main elements of Varnashrama, right? He established the 4 ashrams. They are functioning right now in ISKCON. And he established the Brahminical Varna, the devotees who are living in the temple and they follow the Pancharatra lifestyle, centered around the worship of the deities. So the brahmachari ashram, the brahmachari training is compulsory for all boys. All men have to go through brahmachari training. And usually it takes 12 years. This is the classical Gurukula period of education, 12 years. But the Shastras are very accommodating. And if you cannot do it for 12 years, at least 6, at least 3, or at least 1 year, or at least 1 month, there is even an option for 1 day. 1 day is better than nothing. But we have to also to consider that just like if you invest in material pursuits, let's say you're a business person, and then you invest 1 day of your life in your business exploits, right? So you better be damn good business person. For 1 day, you have to make all your money for the rest of your life. So in the same way, if we invest just 1 day in our training, then we cannot expect that the result will be, the impact on our life will be great. So if we invest more time, then there will be better result, if the training is proper. So why this training is so important? Because the brahmachari training provides, Prabhupada said, first-class brahmachari makes first-class grihasta. So the grihasta ashram is the main ashram in society, so we need good grihastas. Where do you get good grihastas from? From good brahmachari training. So the brahmacharis, most of them, because they will enter the grihasta ashram, if they are trained properly, will have good family life and good grihasta life, good grihasta communities. How is this? Because in order to have good family life, you need good qualities. And these qualities are developed in the brahmachari ashram. You could develop them as a grihasta, but this will be more difficult. Because then you'll have very limited time. Maybe she will give you maybe 2 years before you get it together. 3 years. That's rather optimistic. And as a brahmachari, you have 12 years, or maybe even more, to develop good qualities. Who are those good qualities? First of all, respect for authority. Everything good in life comes from respect for the Vedic authority. So this is what the brahmacharis learn in the Gurukula or in the brahmachari ashram. Respect for the temple president, first of all for Krishna, for our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. We follow their instructions, for the temple president, for the temple commander, for the Sankirtan leader, for all the senior devotees. Respect for authority. Because sometimes the brahmacharis think, well, as a brahmachari, I have to live where I'm told to live, I have to do what I'm told to do. But as a grihasta, I can make my own independent arrangement. But actually, this would have been true if grihasta is a one-man show. But the problem is that grihasta is married to a wife. So instead of the temple commander telling you what to do, now the wife is going to tell you what to do. So if you have never learned respect for authority, then you'll have trouble in the family life. And then brahmachari is supposed to learn self-control. Unless the husband is self-controlled, then the wife will not respect him. And once she loses respect, then it's just a matter of time before the end. Self-control. And then the brahmacharis are supposed to be clean and always active. They're not supposed to be lazy. All this is learned in the brahmacharya ashram, and therefore it is a mutual gain. No, what do you say? It's good for everyone. So the Matajis, they should actually support the strong brahmacharya ashram because they'll get better material later on to work with, right? If there is no training and then she has to train him up from a scratch, poor lady. Because boys, if they don't go through the training, proper training outside of their home, they tend to remain unconscious. Boys are unconscious about the amount of work, the tremendous amount of work that it takes to maintain a household. So they used to, their mother is taking care of everything. The father provides money, and the mother is in traditional sense, of course. Then the mother washes the clothes, cleans the house, cooks, somebody's doing the shopping, and he's just... all these things, they're just supposed to happen, right? He's not conscious how much work is done, how much... if his wife, if his mother is behaving nicely and performing her duties, this is because the father is performing his duties. He's not aware of this as well. So he thinks when he gets married, then basically his wife will be like his mom. She will do everything for him, just like the mom is doing. And then some people say that... Anyway, that's another topic. So this is accomplished when the boy is taken out of this cozy, soft family environment. He has to go and learn discipline. He has to become... basically, he has to become a real man. If he's not trained properly, the female nature, you'll have... the girls will be displaying the female characteristics no matter what. The only difference is that whether they are trained or untrained, but they will be women. With the boys, if you want to get masculine qualities, then he has to be trained properly. If he's not trained, he'll behave like a woman, although he's in a male body. And some people say, I cannot verify this, but some people say that the Chinese symbol for quarrel, for misery, is two women under the same roof. So when so-called men and the woman, they try to create nice family atmosphere, then they will have quarrels because the man is not properly trained. And especially some men, they like to quote Shastra, saying that, the wife should follow the husband. Yes, but the husband should be going somewhere. How do you follow someone who doesn't go anywhere? Just stay there. Or even worse, he goes backwards. So the man should be trained, and then the women, they will naturally follow, because this is their nature. They will follow properly trained, qualified man. And then the Grihastha ashram will be successful. And all this starts by the proper brahmachari training. And then, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, there were many considerations by Kardama Muni before accepting the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. Most important amongst them is that Devahuti had first of all fixed her mind on marrying him. She did not choose to have any other man as her husband. So, there is female and there is male and female nature, and they are different. They are compatible, but they are different. They are not the same. So we are not equal in a sense that has been portrayed very often in our contemporary society. And why? Because when we look at the author, you have Radha Govinda, and this is the origin. You have the masculine nature, which is Krishna, and then Krishna's energy is the feminine. So we are all part of Krishna's energy. So if we want to have smooth life in this material world, we have to follow our duties as man, as woman. And they are inherent. They are already dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. They are established by Krishna. So here, one of the most important of Kardama Muni's consideration is that Devahuti, she did not give her heart and mind to somebody else before him. Because Srila Prabhupada writes, when a woman offers her heart to a man for the first time, it is very difficult for her to take it back. This is all these things that are described in Bhāgavatam. This is the science, Hare Krishna. It is a science, and doesn't matter how do we like it or not, or what is our opinion, Hare Krishna. This is the reality, and when we try to align our lives with this reality, Krishna's reality, then we'll be happy. Even the material psychiatrists, psychologists, they have reached the conclusion that because they do surveys and they have their methods, but even they know that if a girl had many partners before getting married, then there is a less chance of her marriage life to be successful. It's already established scientific fact. So that's important. We are talking about the qualification of the brahmacharis, but the boys, the husband, but the wife should also be qualified. Srila Prabhupada said that there are two qualities of the boy and the two qualities of the girl, which will ensure that the family life will be successful. The boy should be self-controlled and sensitive towards the needs of the wife. Sensitive. We usually taking the self-controlled. I have to be self-controlled, and I can be callous. I'll tell you a story. A friend of mine, he married a younger girl. He was in his 40s and she was in her 20s. So they're both devotees, nice devotees, both of them. So he told me that once they were driving somewhere in the countryside, and there was some nice, very scenic, very beautiful field with flowers, and it was nice blue skies, nice weather. And then this girl, his wife, she said, "Wow, Prabhu, this is so beautiful, these flowers and these blue skies. So let's just stop the car and go and run there and enjoy the beautiful scene," something like that. And this friend of mine, he told me, he looked at her, he said, what a stupid proposal. What is this nonsense? Because in his male, brain, there is no scope for these things. It's just a stupid thing to do. We're doing something, we have to go there and do something important. What is this? And then what happened? He told me. Of course, she was very disappointed, and then she just left him like a few months later. That was it, basically. That's what. This was the beginning of the end. So sensitive means, again, there is a difference between male and female nature, and they are compatible, but they are different. So the husband should know that it may not make sense to me. Maybe it's stupid, maybe it's foolish for me, but for my wife, this is something very important, so I have to take care of this. If not, then don't bother getting married, Stay with the brahmacharis. When you drive around to the brahmacharis, I guarantee this situation will never happen. The brahmacharis will never say, oh, such a beautiful, let's go there. No, this will never happen. But if you are married, then you have to consider the nature of your wife, and it's different nature. So Prabhupada said, self-controlled and sensitive at the same time. They should go together. And the duties, the qualities of the girl, she should be chaste and satisfied. Chaste means exactly what has been described here. Female psychology dictates that when a woman offers her heart to a man, that's it, so basically. So there should be one man in her life, and also she should be satisfied. That means contentment. If she has 5 saris, she should be happy with 5 saris. That's it. This is the rules of the Shastra, always addressing the particular weaknesses of all these material positions that we're taking. Man, woman, brahmachari, brahmana, Vaishya, Shudra, etc. So these are the weaknesses of the male nature and the female nature. The female nature, striya, that means she wants to expand. So it's nice to expand, but if the husband cannot provide more than this, she has to be happy with this, that much. Whatever he can provide. So that's the tapasya of the female nature. Okay, so then there was a question a few days ago about the different types of marriages, right? Maybe you asked this question. And here Srila Prabhupada also speaks about this. There are different kinds of marriages, of which the first class marriage is held by inviting a suitable bridegroom for the daughter. So I wanted to list them. And then Prabhupada also says about the Gandharva marriage. So first of all, where these marriages are described in Manu. Manu describes, this is the Dharma Shastra. Okay. Who is Manu? He's the lawgiver of the mankind. The father. The father of mankind. And he's the law. So if we have, what shall we say? If we want to be known as human beings, we better follow Manu. So the first one is the one described here in Bhāgavatam. This is the first class. So there are 8, and the first one is the best, and the second is second best, the third is third best, and then the 8th is not recommended, even forbidden. So the gift of a daughter, after adorning her with costly garments and honoring her by presence of jewels, to a man learned in the Veda and of good conduct, whom the father himself invites, is called the Brahma rite. This is the first class marriage. And then you have the gift, again, the gift of a daughter, so you don't take money. You don't sell your daughter. This is low class. So the gift of a daughter, who has been bedecked with ornaments, to a priest who duly officiates a sacrifice. During the course of its performance, this is called the Daiva rite. So this is the second. Okay? Basically the same, but then to a priest, to a qualified Brahmana again. Then the third one, the father gives away the daughter according to the rule after receiving from the bridegroom, a cow and a bull of 2 pairs. This is named the Arsha rite. Again, they're all arranged marriages. And then the fourth one is again the gift of a daughter after he has addressed the couple with the following: may both of you perform together your duties. So this is called Prajapatya. Prajapatya means that somehow or other the father could not arrange the marriage. That's what it means. He could not find a suitable boy for his daughter, and then the girl has to go on her own and do it. This is happening after if when she's married in marriageable age, if the father didn't perform properly his duties for 3 years, then she has a right to do it on her own, which is not the best. It's not ideal, because let's think a bit logically. What is better? Somebody does this for you, who knows you and he knows the nature of the boy, or you do it, you have to do it yourself. That means your emotions will be clouded by attachment and aversion. So there is a lesser chance of successful, compatible matching. Hare Krishna. And then these 4 are considered desirable, and then the last 4 are not so desirable. The first one amongst them is the Gandharva rite, just by what we call falling in love. Even then, when this is done, then they have to perform the Brahma rite. So, okay, this is how it happens, but then they have to marry properly, according to the highest ritual, because it has the best results. And then the next one is, the 5th one, is the Asuric one, when the boy kidnaps the girl. This is what the Kshatriyas use. And that's how Krishna married Rukmini, for example, and some other princesses. But then they do the Brahma rite again. So therefore, when you read in Krishna book, so Krishna kidnaps Rukmini, but then he goes back to his capital, and then there is a proper ritual there. It's the Brahma rite again. And then, okay, these are the 6th. And then the 7th is basically the father sells the daughter for a fee. This is very low class. You don't do this. But there are communities that they still do this. Back in my country, there are communities who do this. Won't mention the name, but because it's not politically correct to embarrass people like this, but they're still doing it. There is a big market, bride market, and then once a year, the boys' families come, and then there's the girls there and there is a prize. The father has appointed the prize. And then the last one, so this one was called Hare Krishna. Okay, I cannot find it here. Anyway. And then the last one. When a man, by stealth, seduces a girl who is sleeping, intoxicated, or disordered in intellect, that is the 8th, the most base and sinful rite of the Paishacha. So this is forbidden. So these are the 8 marriages. And only the first 4 are recommended. And actually all these Rakshasa, this other one, selling the daughter, and Paishacha are actually forbidden in Kali Yuga. Forbidden. They're not followed. They shouldn't be done. And even Gandharva also. And only the first 4 are recommended for Brahmanas. So better to have arranged marriages. It works better. Friends of mine, they were traveling in India somewhere in a train, and they were a couple, and they traveled with Indian couple in the train in India, naturally. And then they asked them, so how do you do it in India? You have such strong families compared to the West, and not many divorces. How do you manage this? And then this couple, they were laughing. They started laughing, and they said, "You guys, you start from 100%, and you go gradually to 0. That's how your marriages are working. Because in the beginning, they're infatuated and falling in love, and etc. And we start from 0, and we go to 100%." Okay, thank you for your attention. Granth Śrimad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Somebody wants to say something? Yes.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, thank you for the wonderful lecture.
Thank you.
Wanted to ask you something about the ashrams in the West. So 3 things. Sometimes it appears that in the ashrams there are devotees, brahmachari candidates who are not very, not following authority or not very inclined to follow authority. That's a fact. That's one thing. Then another thing is sometimes there is no authority to follow. It's missing, either because of circumstances, he's traveling, or there is no authority. And then the third item is that there is authority, but the structure is not established, and it's not clear who's the authority, who's following, who's giving the instructions, who is correcting. So how to deal with this, how to solve this problem, because apparently if we are to have a healthy brahmacharya ashram in the West and establish varnashram dharma in a solid way, we have to deal with it.
Brahmacharis are, in Bhāgavatam it says that they have to go to the house of the guru when they're small boys, 5-6 years old. So then it will be easier to have brahmacharya ashram, because then the guru can actually properly form the character of the boys. What we are dealing in the West is boys are joining when they're 18, 20, 22, 24, and they're already established as personalities, and it's difficult. It's not so easy to deal with mature persons. So all these things, they will be there, like you mentioned. You have brahmacharis who don't want to follow authorities. It's unfortunate, because the authority is actually following the authorities for our own good. It's in the West, we think that because we have been abused by our authorities in the past, we have so many dysfunctional families, the relationship with the father was bad, and then by default they take that, well, now every type of authority wants to exploit me, to abuse me. It's not the idea. The Vedic authority is just the opposite. But so this is one problem we have to deal. And then authority itself has to be proper also. So what to do practically? We have to try to understand the principles and apply them in our own life as much as possible. And then the details, they'll be according to time, place, circumstance, but the principles should be understood properly. And then even in these situations that you're describing, if you know the principles, then you'll be able to function properly. have to see what's the principle behind. And it requires spiritual advancement to know these things, realizations. But very serious questions, but I just, it's difficult to expand on this in 2 minutes. Okay. Somebody? Yes.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I wanted to ask this question yesterday. I didn't get the opportunity to. I'm wondering how, practical it is for people to remain brahmachari when they've had so much illicit connection before even knowing about the Vedic system, especially when you come in after age 25 and
how practical it is? What do you mean? How practical?
Because
whether it is, you mean whether it is possible or?
No, not whether it's possible, because it seems that it can be done, but it seems that the point of, purification is so that the mind isn't dwelling on sense gratification, and, it seems that you can be in brahmachari life, but that doesn't mean that your mind is
okay
in brahmachari life.
Yeah, it's not what you're saying, but I'll just shortly tell you a small story. I spoke some years ago with a boy, young boy. He just joined the movement, and I told him, you have to go, you have to get some training, brahmachari training. And he told me, why? I'm not planning to be brahmachari. I'm planning to be grihasta. So why do I need to brahmachari? So brahmachari training, I need grihasta training, not brahmachari training. I don't plan to be grihasta. But this funny story. But many people think this way. So back to your question. Again, it will be difficult because it's not ideal. It's supposed to be done, first of all, we're supposed to have been born through the proper garbhadana, samskaras, etc. We are not. So we ourselves are not very qualified. And then we haven't been gone through proper training at the proper age. So you cannot expect that it will be easy. Still, it has to be done. There is no alternative. It has to be done. Otherwise, it will be worse and worse. We have to, at least some period of life, we have to dedicate to the proper training. Otherwise, we are messing up on all life and the life of our future partners and the society at large. So difficult that it's, at the moment of that, it will be very difficult to remember Krishna, It will be very difficult. So, but doesn't mean we shouldn't practice, yes.
Also, how does, I guess in this society of ISKCON, how does someone get acquainted with an individual enough to pick a proper partner for them? Like he's saying, it would have to be an authority, and since there's so many...
Yeah, ideally it should be done by senior people who know what they're doing, who have realizations, and who are willing to do it, who are willing to take the risk of, because, easy to blame them later on if things doesn't work. But ideally, it should be done by senior grihastas. And otherwise, it is dangerous because once the emotions become part of the picture, then the intelligence doesn't work properly. You are already too attached. So usually people, what they do, they become attached and they do the chart. Right? Devotees, they do charts, compatibility charts before marriage usually. But they usually do it after they are already attached to the girl or to the boy. So then whatever the astrologers say doesn't matter anymore. Then they say, well, we are devotees, Krishna, by the mercy of Krishna, we'll do it somehow. But it's not like, it should be done before. So first, if the chart is not good, don't even bother about it. Because all this infatuation with falling in love is very short-lived, a few months. Even the karmis know, especially the karmis know that. And then you're left with the person. You have to deal with the person. And if you're not compatible with this person, It will be difficult. Srila Prabhupada in one purport he says, because there are three natures, divine, human, and Rakshasa nature. Prabhupada says, so three types of general of natures. So Prabhupada says, if the boy is of divine nature, the girl should be also divine nature, and they will be compatible. If the boy is Rakshasic, then the girl should be also Rakshasa nature, and they'll be happy, they're compatible. But divine, Rakshasa, it's a bad combination. Okay? Yes?
Just a quick comment.
Yes.
I'll add this too. His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj was one time asked a similar question about, like, what's the point of being a brahmachari? And he said, everyone should be a brahmachari for at least one day, because then in their married life they can look back on the best date that they ever had in their life.
Okay, it's typical in Maharaja style. Yes, thank you. Tulsi Prabhu. Very nice.
Just something on these questions. So first the questions of Matanga. Well, there is no possibility that you don't follow the authority. Like you may think you are not following, but you are following yourself, your mind. So you always follow authority. The question is, what will be the benefit of this? And then second, if we are sincere in our devotional service, and if we try sincerely to follow, even if there is no qualified authority or it's not clear who is the authority, anyway, still the process will work. And as Kadambakana Maharaj, many times he said, we should stop looking for someone that we follow. We should become the people that others want to follow. So basically we cannot always blame to others, oh, this is not good, that is not good, situation is not good, the authority is not good. No, if something is not good, then you become the example, and then you show to others how it should be. This is the mood of Maharaj. And in regards to our situation and our back memories and lifestyle, well, it doesn't matter what is the lifestyle. Basically now we are getting a chance for a new beginning. So we just have to take opportunity of this. And also, as Kadambakana Maharaj was saying many times, just it doesn't matter, like of course everybody should get training of brahmachari in the beginning, at least for few months or a few years, but then it doesn't matter if you're going to live as a brahmachari or grihasta, but live properly. So according to the rules. Maharaj many times was saying, sinful life, no. But otherwise, no problem. Whatever is better for you, no problem. But sinful life, no, we have to forget about this. So we get a chance to live pure lifestyle. We just have to live this pure lifestyle. One way or the other, somehow or other, you have to make it.
Yeah, that's a very nice point, because actually on the level of the soul, that doesn't matter. You can pick up the Krishna consciousness from any point of life, because we are the soul, we're not the conditioned nature. Very important point. It may be more difficult, but it is possible, because the soul is pure always. Okay, Hare Krishna. Garantara Śrimad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. Oh, glory is to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Oh, glory to Shiva.